He fell in love with me and I fell in love with him, and now my feelings have changed.
I know you got killers. Please don't send them at my head.
Kanye West had an epic meltdown.
She's going to be a single mom. He is going to be a lot to deal with.
In Hollywood, few relationships have captured the public's imagination quite like Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. Do you think so? Their whirlwind romance, marked by passion and creativity, seemed like a fairy tale, drawing fans into their glamorous lives. However, the truth is completely different. As Kim's love for Kanye deepened, it often clouded her judgment, until a shocking revelation turned their fairy tale into a cautionary tale. Please stay calm to listen to their stories. The Kim Kardashian and Kanye West's marriage was a highly publicized affair steeped in emotional turmoil, mental health struggles, and personal revelations that left the world wondering. Did Kanye West's behavior destroy the Kardashian family? While it's hard to pin the breakdown of a marriage on a single factor, Kanye's erratic behavior in the years leading up to their eventual split undeniably put immense strain on their relationship, and Kim herself acknowledged that their union was becoming increasingly untenable. Kanye's meltdown in 2020 was particularly concerning, not only to his family but also to the public at large. At the time, Kanye made several outlandish statements during his presidential campaign rally in South Carolina, one of which shook Kim to her core. "I almost killed my daughter," he cried, referring to the couple's oldest child, North, and revealing that they had once considered terminating the pregnancy. This heart-wrenching admission, made so publicly and without Kim's prior knowledge or consent, exposed the deep fissures within their relationship. It was clear that Kanye's mental health was spiraling out of control, and Kim was left to grapple with the emotional fallout, not just for herself, but for their children, particularly North, who would one day come to learn of this very personal and painful chapter of their lives. Kim, who had long stood by Kanye's side despite his unpredictable outbursts and controversial behavior, was reaching her breaking point. She had been trying, in vain, to get him the help he desperately needed. But Kanye resisted. "Y'all tried to lock me up," he claimed, alluding to his belief that Kim and her family were attempting to have him involuntarily committed during one of his episodes. Kanye's distrust of those closest to him, coupled with his refusal to seek professional help, made it nearly impossible for Kim to manage the situation. She had publicly defended him for years, painting him as a misunderstood genius with a big heart. But behind the scenes, the toll it was taking on her was evident. "He is going to be a lot to deal with," Kim confided, acknowledging the reality of their situation. As Kanye's public meltdowns continued, including bizarre Twitter rants and erratic speeches, the world watched as Kim tried to maintain her composure. The strain of trying to help her husband while protecting their children from the media storm became overwhelming. It wasn't just about Kanye's public image anymore, it was about the long-term impact on their family, especially their 4 young children, North, Saint, Chicago, and Psalm. Kanye's refusal to acknowledge his mental health struggles publicly complicated the situation further. He had previously admitted to being diagnosed with bipolar disorder, but he often vacillated between embracing and rejecting that diagnosis. During his more lucid moments, Kanye would express remorse or try to explain his behavior. But these periods were fleeting, and the cycle of erratic outbursts would resume. Kim, on the other hand, was left to pick up the pieces and shield their children from the fallout, a role that became increasingly unsustainable as Kanye's actions grew more unpredictable. Despite her deep love for Kanye and the life they had built together, Kim's feelings began to change. In a tearful and candid moment, she admitted, "I can't. He fell in love with me, and I fell in love with him. And now my feelings have changed." It was a heartbreaking confession, one that signaled the end of an era. Kim had always been loyal to Kanye, but the emotional weight of his unpredictable behavior was becoming too much to bear. She knew she couldn't continue to live in a constant state of crisis, especially when their children's well-being was at stake. For months, rumors swirled about the state of their marriage, fueled by Kanye's increasingly erratic behavior. But one sign in particular sparked intensified speculation: Kim stepping out without her wedding ring. It was a stark visual, a symbol of the unraveling relationship between two of the world's most famous people, and the world took notice. For Kim, the emotional burden was immense. Behind the scenes, she was grappling with the reality of her marriage falling apart. "What were you worried most about, yourself or your family?" the media would ask. The answer was clear. "My family," she admitted, with the weight of her responsibilities as a mother of 4 heavy on her shoulders. Despite the public's fascination with the drama, her primary concern was always her children, North, Saint, Chicago, and Psalm, who were blissfully unaware of the turmoil brewing within their family. Then came the call, the one that made her heart drop. "I get a call from one of Kanye's friends and my heart drops. What's wrong? Don't scare me, please. What's going on?" Her anxiety, already heightened by months of tension, skyrocketed. Kanye had been on a downward spiral for some time, and Kim knew all too well how unpredictable his behavior could be. His last performance had been particularly alarming. He appeared agitated, pacing back and forth on stage, ranting about everything from the media to politics. It was clear something wasn't right. "The show's over," Kanye declared abruptly, leaving fans and onlookers stunned. For Kim, this wasn't just the end of a concert. It was a public manifestation of the private turmoil that had been festering in their marriage for months. His erratic behavior had reached a breaking point, and now there were serious concerns for his safety. Behind the scenes, a team of professionals was working frantically to keep Kanye safe. "I'm actually one of his doc's requests if we can have some police backup. Don't let him get any weapons," one of his doctors reportedly advised. It was a chilling moment, underscoring just how serious Kanye's mental health crisis had become. The man who had once been one of the most influential and groundbreaking artists in the world was now spiraling out of control, and the people around him were scrambling to manage the situation. Kanye was eventually hospitalized, waking up in a Los Angeles hospital under observation. It was a necessary step, but for Kim, it was heartbreaking. "I am so scared," she confided to her close circle. The fear wasn't just for Kanye, but for their family, especially their young children, who were beginning to sense that something wasn't quite right. "I just can't imagine having kids and doing all that," she added, her voice heavy with emotion. "And that's what's hard, 'cause, they don't know anything." North, the oldest, was just starting to reach an age where she might begin to understand more of what was happening. But for now, Kim was doing everything in her power to shield her children from the chaos surrounding their father. Kim had always been fiercely protective of her family, and at this moment, that protectiveness was more important than ever. Her role as a mother became even more critical as she tried to maintain a sense of normalcy at home, despite the storm raging around them. "So I'm just trying to be like normal at home for them," she said, a task that seemed increasingly impossible as Kanye's condition worsened and their marriage fractured. Kim Kardashian's understanding of fame, scrutiny, and public judgment didn't begin with her rise to reality television stardom. It was shaped by her childhood, shadowed by her father's high-profile involvement in one of the most infamous trials of the 1990s. Kim was just 14 years old when her father, Robert Kardashian, found himself thrust into the public eye as a defense attorney for O.J. Simpson during his murder trial. For Kim, this was an early and jarring introduction to the often cruel nature of the media. "I was 14, Kim recalled. "I pulled up to the gate on my way home, and there were all these cameras outside." The whirlwind of attention that surrounded the case had a profound impact on her, not just because of her father's role, but also because of the way the media began to spin stories about her and her family. That night on hard copy, it said, "Robert Kardashian's mistress pulling up to his house. To a teenager still navigating the complexities of adolescence, it was a shocking and painful experience. The media had fabricated a story, casting her as a figure of scandal, when in reality, she was just a young girl trying to go about her life. This incident was Kim's first real lesson in how the media could distort reality and turn someone's life into a spectacle. "I couldn't believe it," she said. "They were making this stuff up." It was a harsh realization that, no matter the truth, the media had the power to shape public perception, and once a narrative was created, it was difficult to change. But through the storm of media attention and the pressure it brought, Kim had something invaluable: her father. Robert Kardashian was more than just an attorney and public figure to Kim. He was her guiding light, her role model, and the pillar of strength in her life. "We were such daddy's girls," Kim often reflected. "I worked for him in his office. I learned so much from him." Her father's wisdom extended beyond the courtroom. He instilled in Kim and her siblings lessons about self-respect, integrity, and how to navigate a world that could be harsh and unforgiving. One of the most poignant memories Kim has shared was the letter her father wrote her, offering advice about relationships and self-worth. "He wrote me this letter about respecting my body and not letting a man treat me a certain way or take advantage of me." It was advice that would echo in Kim's mind as she navigated her own complex and often public relationships in the years to come. But despite her father's words of caution, Kim found herself thrown into the whirlwind of relationships, fame, and the harsh glare of the public spotlight. One of the most significant of these was her relationship with Kanye West. To many, it seemed like a modern fairy tale: the reality TV queen and the genius rapper coming together in a romance that defied expectations. But Kim's relationship with Kanye wasn't just about love, it was also about validation, protection, and the feeling of being truly understood. "It's very comforting to have someone that knows everything about you, that respects you," Kim said of Kanye. For a woman who had spent so much of her life in the public eye, often judged and ridiculed, Kanye represented someone who stood by her side, regardless of the backlash. "He's put himself up against the world for me," Kim admitted. When Kanye and Kim began dating, the media was relentless in their criticism. Kanye faced intense scrutiny for his choice to date Kim, a woman whose fame was largely built on reality TV and whose past was stained by the infamous release of a sensitive tape. Everyone told him, "You cannot date a girl with a sensitive tape. You cannot date a reality show girl. This is going to ruin your career." But Kanye didn't care. He loved Kim unapologetically, and in many ways, his defense of her felt like the ultimate validation. In him, Kim found someone who didn't just accept her for who she was, he celebrated her. Kim Kardashian's life took a dramatic turn when she married Kanye West. From the outset, their relationship was marked by Kanye's influence over Kim, both in terms of her style and the way she presented herself to the world. Kanye encouraged her to take risks, to embrace her sexuality, and fully step into the role of a global icon. "From day one, Kanye has always been someone in my life who's always pushed me to take risks," Kim once said. His desire to shape her image was clear, but as their relationship evolved, so did Kanye's expectations of her. As Kanye became more involved in Kim's life, he began to express discomfort with certain aspects of her public persona, particularly her provocative photo shoots. Despite the fact that Kanye had initially encouraged Kim to embrace her sex appeal and had helped build her brand around that image, his perspective shifted once they were married. "You are my wife, and it affects me when pictures are too sexy," Kanye told her. For Kim, this presented a complex dilemma. She had built her career on embracing her body and her confidence, but now her husband, the man who had played a significant role in shaping that image, was asking her to change. "You built me up to be this sexy person," Kim responded, acknowledging the contradiction in Kanye's request. yet she also felt a deep desire to honor her husband's feelings. Their relationship was founded on mutual respect, and Kim wanted to strike a balance between maintaining her autonomy and supporting Kanye's evolving views. "I obviously want to honor him," she said. But as much as Kim wanted to make Kanye happy, there was something that was starting to take precedence in her life: her role as a mother. When their daughter North was born, Kim's priorities began to shift dramatically. "The moment I laid eyes on my baby, I was so in love," Kim said, recalling the powerful emotions she felt upon becoming a mother. Motherhood brought a new dimension to Kim's life, one that began to reshape how she saw herself and the world around her. Suddenly, the things that had once seemed so important, fame, wealth, and public image, began to pale in comparison to the love she felt for her child. Being North's mother became Kim's primary focus, and it introduced new challenges to her relationship with Kanye. While Kim embraced her new role with enthusiasm, she couldn't help but notice that Kanye seemed somewhat detached from the responsibilities of parenthood. When the baby came out, Kanye was not really paying attention, she confessed. It was a startling realization for Kim, who was completely overwhelmed with love and concern for their newborn daughter. The disconnect between Kanye's attitude and her own feelings of protectiveness began to create a subtle tension in their marriage. As Kim juggled her responsibilities as a mother and a public figure, she started to question whether Kanye fully grasped the gravity of parenthood. Her doubts became more pronounced when she realized that Kanye had never traveled alone with North. "Well, he's never traveled with the baby by himself?" someone asked her. No, Kim replied. "And you don't trust him?" I'm trying to," she admitted. Despite their deep connection, Kim found herself struggling to reconcile Kanye's sometimes cavalier attitude with the fierce maternal instinct that had taken hold of her. She wanted to trust him completely, but the reality of parenthood was revealing new complexities in their relationship. Kim's protective instincts were put to the ultimate test during one of the most traumatic experiences of her life: the Paris robbery. Before becoming a mother, Kim had always thought that material possessions were important, but motherhood had transformed her perspective. She shared a conversation she had with her girlfriends, saying, "When you become a mom, you become so protective. Me and my girlfriends, we had lunch and said, 'If you guys were robbed, what would you do?' And I said, 'I would say, take everything. Just take everything. Nothing is important.'" But even though she had mentally prepared herself for such a scenario, Kim never truly believed it would happen to her. That all changed on the night of the robbery in Paris, an event that shook her to her core. "I never thought my fears would come true," she said. Just as she was about to fall asleep, she heard footsteps, men running up the stairs of her apartment. "They wanted my ring and my jewelry, so I handed him my ring," Kim recounted. But the situation quickly escalated, and Kim was confronted with the terrifying reality of her vulnerability. "They grabbed me, and I was wearing a robe, and I wasn't wearing anything under it," she said, fighting back tears. As the robbers threatened her life, Kim's thoughts immediately went to her children. "I don't want to cry," she said. "I'm like, what is happening? Are we gonna die? Just tell them I have children, like I have babies, I have a husband, I have a family, like I have to get home. Tell them, take anything." At that moment, nothing mattered more than her family. Kim vividly recalled seeing one of the robbers brandished a gun, and she braced herself for the worst. "I saw him have a gun out to me, and I was like, okay, this is it." She was convinced she wouldn't make it out alive. The robber picked her up, placed her on the floor, and then ran off, leaving her shaken and traumatized but alive. The terrifying experience left her shaken to her core, but she tried to maintain a facade of strength for the sake of her children. As she recounted the event, the gravity of the situation was clear. "It was the scariest thing I've ever been through in my entire life," she said. For Kim, the fear wasn't just about her life. It was about the possibility of her children growing up without their mother. Just thinking that, you're about to die. It was a haunting realization, one that would linger long after the ordeal was over. Kim's immediate concern was to protect her children from the emotional fallout. "I don't want to cry in front of the kids," she said, determined to shield them from the trauma she was going through. She wanted to maintain some semblance of normalcy for her family, even though her own world had been shattered. "Don't let them think anything is wrong," she told herself, trying to hold it all together. In the months following the robbery, Kim worked to rebuild her sense of security and focus on her children. But while she was doing her best to recover, her husband, Kanye West, was spiraling into a state of increasing instability. His behavior became more erratic, and it was clear that something was deeply wrong. In November 2016, Kanye was hospitalized after what was reported to be a nervous breakdown. He had been restrained, a detail that added a layer of intensity to the situation. Kanye's public statements during this time reflected the turmoil he was experiencing. "Jay-Z, I know you got killers, please don't send them at my head," he said during one of his on-stage rants, a statement that left fans and insiders alike concerned for his mental health. At another point, he made a bold proclamation. "I gotta let you guys know that I'm moving back to Chicago. I'm never leaving again." His words were often disjointed, a reflection of the internal chaos he was grappling with. For Kim, Kanye's instability presented an overwhelming challenge. She was already stretched thin, juggling her responsibilities as a mother and dealing with her own recovery from the robbery. Now she had to contend with her husband's unpredictable behavior. "I definitely feel like I'm being pulled in a million directions," Kim admitted, acknowledging the strain on her mental and emotional well-being. "The kids are in school, and we have another baby on the way," she added, referencing the impending arrival of their fourth child. "Moving to Chicago, honestly, might be my breaking point. I don't have much more to give." Kim's breaking point came when Kanye revealed a devastating and personal secret during a speech at a political rally. With the world watching, he tearfully confessed, "She brought North into the world even when I didn't want to. I almost killed my daughter. I almost killed my daughter." The statement was a reference to a private conversation the couple had early in Kim's pregnancy with their first child, North, when they had discussed the possibility of terminating the pregnancy. It was a deeply personal matter, and Kim was horrified that Kanye had aired it so publicly. "She knows this is something North will see when she gets older, and that's heartbreaking," Kim said, reflecting on the long-term impact of Kanye's words. As a mother, she was devastated by the thought of her daughter one day hearing that her father had once considered not having her. It was a level of exposure that Kim could not reconcile, and it marked a turning point in her relationship with Kanye. Kim had been trying to get Kanye help for his increasingly erratic behavior, but he refused it. His resistance to professional treatment left Kim feeling helpless. "He's not a fit parent right now," she confessed, acknowledging the difficult reality she was facing. The man she had once relied on, who had been her partner in life and parenthood, was no longer the same. Although it hurt her deeply, Kim had learned that she needed to prioritize her children above all else. She had to make decisions that would protect their well-being, even if it meant distancing herself from Kanye. "There are those moments in life that really change you and shake you to your core," Kim said, reflecting on the series of traumatic events that had unfolded. "And my robbery was definitely that moment for me." The experience had fundamentally altered her perspective on life, forcing her to reassess what was truly important. Material possessions, fame, and even her marriage took a back seat to her responsibility as a mother. Kim's focus became singular, ensuring the safety and stability of her children. The Kardashian family has bid farewell to Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the reality TV show that skyrocketed them into global fame and defined a cultural era. After 20 seasons and over a decade of documenting their lives, the decision to end the show was deeply emotional for the family, but one they felt was necessary. "It was an emotional decision, but we all felt like it was the right decision," Kim Kardashian remarked. The show, which had become a cornerstone of pop culture, followed the ups and downs of the Kardashian-Jenner clan, but the family now wanted to focus on their personal lives, away from the constant scrutiny of the cameras. For Kim Kardashian, the end of the show marked the beginning of a new chapter, one that allowed her to prioritize her children and her personal growth. Shortly after announcing the end of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kim filed for divorce from Kanye West, ending nearly 7 years of marriage. While the decision was undoubtedly difficult, Kim expressed a sense of relief and freedom. "There is a weight lifted off her shoulders," an insider revealed, reflecting the emotional toll the marriage had taken on her in its final years. Despite the public unraveling of their relationship, Kim's primary focus remained clear: her children. "My kids have taught me how to be patient and just what's important in life. And what I would want for them is just the safest place," Kim said, underscoring her desire to create a stable and nurturing environment for her family. Kim's love for her children, North, Saint, Chicago, and Psalm, has been the anchor that keeps her grounded amid the storm of public life. Motherhood has transformed her in ways she could not have anticipated, and she has repeatedly expressed how it has brought out the best in her. "I'm so glad that my kids get this version of me, rather than the 20-something-year-old version of me," Kim reflected. Her father, the late Robert Kardashian, had always advised her to wait until her 30s to start a family, and she now recognizes the wisdom in his words. The maturity, patience, and perspective she has gained in her 40s have made her a better mother and a more focused individual. With her children safe and thriving, Kim has shifted her attention toward becoming a role model, especially for her eldest daughter, North. Kim's relationship with North is particularly significant, as she is acutely aware of the example she sets for her. As she balances her high-profile career and personal life, Kim hopes to show her daughter the importance of hard work, self-respect, and compassion. "My children are really compassionate, and they're really good people, and that is my #1 goal in life," Kim said, expressing her pride in the values she is instilling in her kids. The time she has been able to spend with them, especially during the challenges of the last year, has been invaluable. "Even though it's been such a challenging year, this time that I've been able to spend with my children has been priceless. That part has been so beautiful." Kim's growth as a person, however, extends beyond her role as a mother. She has been increasingly drawn to a new professional path, following in the footsteps of her father, who was a renowned attorney. In recent years, Kim has dedicated herself to criminal justice reform, working to help free wrongly incarcerated individuals. This journey has not only given her a sense of purpose, but has also connected her with her father's legacy in a profound way. Her involvement in high-profile cases, such as advocating for Alice Marie Johnson's release, has shown that Kim is deeply committed to the cause. As she navigates this new career, she draws strength from her father's memory and the lessons he imparted on her as a child. What do you think about Kim Kardashian and Kanye West's love? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.